I'm the messenger, Yah, stepping out of Beulah. From Babylon to Zion, my chains are looser in my mind, but out here the jakes will shoot ya. The judge is judge for hire, the jury's are straight liars. Just to see Israel fried up, they got our phones tapped and wired up. The police got you stuck, no one desires us. This law requires us to buy this man's trust, pay to get salvation. Who you playing? But I pulled your card, I seen your stars, they false lights. My spirit spit lyrics so cold, your frostbite. And that's the attitude from your murderous plight, from your rapists every night. And young boys shot down in the street in they mama's sight. Your overseers call this the good life, like the hood's right. Rep Zion, that's right. Yah's way, that's life. The ships of Tarshish, the glory of Lebanon will offload to Yah's land. That's what we stepping on. The next plane won't miss the Pentagon. The bees is dying, Florida is drying. Look like death coming to Babylon. The nation about to be born. A pure language giving the call on the name of Yah. All people will serve the son, the black supremacist. No hippie on the stick, looking like Dennis the Menace. The demon is finished when the wicked fall, the meek increase. Israel is free. Rejoice in the death of the beast. The resurrection of Yah's people. All your children will be righteous, walking in Yah's likeness, mirth and happiness. All glory in the land that Yah is blessed. See the truth manifesting Yah's elect.
Yeah. Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Once again, the Creator has allowed us to come for you another day, another night, bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Mowreh IshYAH YIsraEL of the House of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1907 Vine Street, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth. for Yah ordained me to tell you the truth. And this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YIsraEL, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king, he's our judge, he's our lawgiver. And Yah is our only savior, and not just of Israel. Yah is the savior of the world. And I praise the mighty Yah for allowing us to come before you once again with his great, holy, and exalted words. Tonight we will be once again discussing the purpose of marriage. Little do people know there's purpose for everything. Watch what the Creator lets us know in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. And when one is studying and reading the scriptures, you should always be searching and looking for purpose. In the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, the very first verse, it says, to everything, and I mean everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So there's a time to every purpose because everything has purpose. And there's a season to everything. And we're going to be bringing to you that information a little bit more clearer. But tonight, we're discussing the purpose of marriage. Last night, we dealt with the first order, the first thing that one should consider in terms of the purpose of marriage. And that is establishing good, or the pathway to good. And how Yahweh wanted us to do a good thing. Now, who gets marriage for that purpose? To do something good. There's no doubt historically that when people joined, a man and a woman joined together in marriage, communities are raised, nations are born, and people, as well as families, come together. And in this unity, it establishes much good. But when you don't have marriage, oftentimes you have a lot of whoredom, a lot of transgression, a lot of sin, a lot of confusion, and a lot of heartbreak. And so it's very important to understand purpose. Look what the Creator is saying, just a small, quick recap of what our other Mowreh brought to us, Mowreh IshYAH, last night, which was phenomenal. Dealing with the purpose of marriage, part 1, and I'm going to deal with part 2. But part 1 is what the Creator let us know and brought to our attention in the book of Genesis, the 2nd chapter, And this is what he said. Concerning marriage. 18th verse. And Yahweh Elohim said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a help match or a help meet for him. And so one of the first things he wanted this man to do, and one of the things that he helped the man to do, is to do some good. And how did he do this? This good thing. I want you to read something where the Creator said, let me continue reading so you can get this whole picture. And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field, every fowl of the air, brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof, because as soon as he made Adam, Adam began to work. He began to service himself in the earth and become a servant of the Most High. He named all the animals, all the fowl, and every living creature. He gave them names. 20th verse, and Adam gave names to all the cattle, the fowl of the air, the beasts of the field. But it says, but for Adam there was not found a helpmate for him. And so this was not good, because he didn't have what all the other creatures had. And if anyone needed someone, it was him. Even though all the other creatures needed their mate as well. So Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of the ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall join to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And of course, the purpose of marriage, number 2, is establishing oneness with your helpmate, with your wife, with your bone of bones and flesh of flesh. First, you got to do something good. And that is to marry her, to have a helpmate, to establish her to be your wife. And the way you establish her to be your wife, you enter into a covenant with her so that she might be separated from all the other women as well as all the other men on earth. Now she belongs to you. The scripture says, he that findeth a good thing, he that findeth a wife, findeth a good thing and obtain favor of Yahweh. Because this is, when you become a man, this is the one good thing that you want to do first. After you begin to build, after you begin to plant, you want to get your helpmate. This is the order of life, but what we're talking about is the purpose of marriage. And one has to understand and know that this pathway is the only and good pathway. Yahweh never had a man to go in a path attempting to marry another man, or a woman marrying another woman, or a man just having a girlfriend. No, these are not the various paths of good that Yahweh will have anyone and the man that he made to follow. This man was made in the image and the likeness of Yahweh. And the path that he wanted him to take is to get him a wife. And the scriptures also call this a helpmate. But once a man got him a wife, got him this good thing, and took hold of the path of good, because this path, Yahweh see is good. Whether you see flaws in it is your business. But Yahweh see this path as good. And I'm pretty sure, quite positive, that what Yahweh see is better, way better than what you see. And we see in the 24th verse of this second chapter, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall join to his wife, and they shall become one. What is one? According to the scriptures, the word one comes from the Hebrew word echad, or echad, which means one or unity, or unit. In other words, something that's one is not divided. Something that's one, there's no separation. Something that's a unit is one whole complete thing with nothing in it to divide it. Because once it's divided, then it's going to become something that the Creator does not desire. He wants these two things, these two entities, these two separate pieces, these two individuals to become one. And why? And we're going to show you why. We're going to show you how this is the way in the order of Yahweh. You did good, because he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So you done found your wife, and this is good. But now that you found her, now you all have to become one. And in order for you to understand how to become one, being one, walking as one, you must understand your Maker, who is also called your husband. And that's Yahweh himself. See, Yahweh, let me just show you something that Yahweh commands and Yahweh desire in order for you to be one with him. Then you can understand the oneness you got to have between a husband and a wife. And watch what the Creator lets us know. We already see in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, you got to be one flesh. You got to be inseparable. And to be inseparable, let me show you what has to happen. If you go to the book of Jeremiah, the 32nd chapter, we're going to go there first. Because now we're talking about the purpose of marriage. You think Yahweh, who said he's married to you, I'm married to Israel, do you think his marriage to Israel will be a different type of marriage that he want us to have with one another? No, it's not a different. He would have used a different word. And he did not. In the book of Jeremiah 32, watch what the Creator lets us know. Talking about the purpose of marriage number 2. And what is that? Establishing oneness. Since now you've already, at the beginning of this, established something good. Now, son, that you done established something good and you got your helpmate, now this is what you got to do secondly. In the book of Jeremiah, the 32nd chapter, watch what it says. I'm going to start reading at the 37th verse. It says, behold, I will gather them out of all the countries, speaking of our people, where I've driven them in my anger, and in my fury, and in great wrath, and I will bring them again to this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And watch the 39th verse. And I will give them one heart, one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and of their children after them. See, the Almighty, in order for us to be with him, in a marriage with him, we have to have one heart. And what do that mean, one heart? Do we have two hearts today? No, it's not that we have two hearts today, but our heart is not one with him. And he wants us to have one heart. And not only one heart. He wants us to have one way. We can't dispute and argue which way we're going to go. Yes, you can talk about different ways. Yahweh don't have no problem with you questioning him on certain things, as Abraham questioned Yahweh. But Yahweh is not about to have his authority questioned. In his authority, the only way you can survive, the only way this marriage can work, the only way you can fulfill your purpose is that you have one heart. and that you have one way. This is why the scripture says, guard your heart with all diligence. Because if you don't do that, your heart will be divided, separated from the very one you're supposed to be one with. One heart and one way. And not only do Yahweh want you to have one heart and one way, watch what he says in the book of Ezekiel, the 11th chapter. The scripture says, how can two walk together unless they be agreed? You can't. You can't walk together unless you agree. And if you can agree, because Yahweh wants you to be agreed, because at some point in time, he wants you to go one way or the other. But you can't go two different ways. He wants you to have one heart and not be double-hearted. And you have to learn how to be. And we're going to show you how to have this oneness. And it's easy to read, it's easy to say, it's easy to do. Easy to talk about, but his actions speak louder than words. And the reason why it's not as easy as you might say it is because there are entities that's working against your oneness. And you have to know this. You think just because you want to be one, he want to be one, that everything around you wants you to be one? No. You got to do some works. You got to labor to be one. And what is one again? It's the second purpose of marriage. One means to be a unit, one piece, a whole piece, inseparable. In the book of Ezekiel, the 11th chapter, let's see what this says. Starting at the 17th verse. In the book of Ezekiel 11 and 17, therefore say, thus says Yahweh, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. And they shall come there, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from there. And watch what it says in the 19th verse. And you notice this is Yahweh bringing us back to him. Watch what it says. And I will give them one heart. And we read that already. And I will put a new spirit within you. And I will take the stony heart out of their flesh and will give them a heart of flesh. In other words, now you are transformed into something that would enable you to be one with your husband. Because ask yourself, you think your husband want his wife to have a different heart than him? A different way than him? Another spirit than him? No. Because these things does not establish and promote oneness with your husband. And if you're going to fulfill your purpose in this marriage, you're going to have to be one. And if you see that you can't be one with your wife, and you see that your wife cannot be one with you, then y'all need to stop. And the only way you can't be one is that someone refuse to have that heart of flesh. They refuse to humble themselves. Talking about the oneness, you got to have one way, one heart, one spirit, be one flesh. The purpose of marriage. And everything about Yahweh is oneness. This is why he wants you to establish this thing in this manner, because this is the very manner in which he's trying to establish with you. And he knows that if you can do it with him, you can do it with your wife. And if you can do it with your wife, you can do it with him. Since we're in the book of Ezekiel, still talking about this oneness, in the book of Ezekiel 37, watch what it says. The 15th verse, Ezekiel 37:15. Watch what it says. Still talking about your husband and what he will do to establish oneness. And it's the same thing that you must do. Because he has no different type of marriage. His marriage to his people is a covenant. And this is a covenant. And watch what it says. The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Moreover, you son of man, take you one stick and write upon it for Yehudah, and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for yourself, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions, and join them one to another in one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people shall speak unto you, saying, will you not show us what you mean by these, what you mean about these sticks? And join them in your hand, and they become one. Say unto them, thus says Yahweh, behold, I will take the stick of yourself, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Yehudah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks whereon you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And watch what it says. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all. And this is how you know they're going to be one. Watch what it says. And they shall be no more two nations. In other words, a man and a woman can no longer be no more two people. They just one flesh. They just one way, one heart. They have to become one in Yahweh's hand. And watch how it explains this. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. There shouldn't be no division whatsoever between a husband and his wife. This is not the way of Yahweh. Yahweh don't want this division. In the book of Ezekiel 34, on this same issue, Ezekiel 34. And I'm going to read in the book of Ezekiel 34. I'm going to start reading, still dealing with the oneness that a marriage must have. It is the second thing. And we know 2 represents Yah's name. Why you think he gave us his name? In marriage. And why do you think she gets your name in marriage? Because Yahweh is establishing oneness. It says in Ezekiel 34, I'm going to start reading 20th verse. Therefore, thus says Yah Elohim, behold, I will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle. Because you have thrust with side and with shoulder and pushed all the disease with your horns till you have scattered them abroad. Speaking of his people. Therefore will I save my flock. And they shall no more be a prey. And I will judge between cattle and cattle. And watch what the Creator says. Because with the Most High, everything is about oneness. Marriage is about oneness. And it's not going to work. The purpose is not going to be fulfilled unless it comes to this oneness. 23rd verse. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. Only one shepherd. So, in order for you to have some type of oneness in your house, oneness between you and your wife, only one can be the shepherd. Only one can be the head. And as you are building and creating your flock, then the flock will know the one head, the one shepherd. And they should never, ever be confused who that one head is, who that one shepherd is, and what's the one way that you're going. You're walking. This is the oneness of Yahweh. And there's not even a question whether Yahweh desired this at all. Yahweh's whole essence is about oneness. So marriage is only an extension of what Yahweh wanted anyway. Watch what it says in the book of Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter. And we're going to come back to this one shepherd. Watch what the Creator said in the book of Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter. Unfortunately, we don't really know how this oneness really works. We're showing you, but we really don't know how it really works. We don't know the great commitment we have to make and the great sacrifice we had to make to become one. We think it's good to think as two individuals when Yahweh wants us to think as one. We think it's good to be separated in two different minds and two different hearts and two different spirits when Yahweh only wants one. In the book of Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter, the 4th verse, it says, "Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Elohim, is one Yahweh." Or in Hebrew, "Shema Yisrael, Yah Eloheinu, Yah Echad," which means Yahweh is one. And Yahweh wanted you to know emphatically that he's one. And this whole triunity, this whole trinity that our people been tricked and bamboozled about is a total lie. Yahweh never wanted you to have some type of trinity when dealing with him. He wanted you to know that he's one, not three, but one. And when he married Israel, his people, he wanted you to know, if you want to be with me, you have to become one with me. Not three, not two, but one. But what if somebody wanted to be one with you? Let me show you how the Creator seen that. If someone wanted to be one with you, this is how they will have to think. Watch what it says in the book of Numbers, the 15th chapter. Here, the Most High wants you to be one with him. But what if other people wanted to be with you? Watch what it says. In the book of Numbers, the 15th chapter. And watch what it says in the 15th verse. It says, "One ordinance shall be both for you of the congregation and also for the stranger that sojourns with you in ordinance forever in your generation. Watch what it says. As you are, so shall the stranger be before Yahweh. In other words, as your husband is, that's how you're supposed to be. How else can you be one if you're different than your husband? That's why all through the scriptures, the Creator tells you to fear Yah, your Elohim, which is number one, your first requirement. And then the second requirement that he gives you is to walk in all his ways. Because this is the only way you can be one like him. That's the only way you can be as him. As you are, so shall they be. Watch what it says, 16th verse. One law, one manner shall be for you and for the stranger that sojourns with you. Now, if your stranger had to be one like you, it had to be as you are, then what in the world do you think your wife's supposed to be like? She has to be one as you are. Or do he supposed to be like her? See, it's got to be one or the other. Either he's like her, think like her, be like her, follow her way, or it's the other way around. And we know the truth. She has to be like him. And watch how the Creator just speaks to us and give us insight on the purpose of marriage. Watch this in the book of Malachi. The first chapter. And one of my other brothers, fellow Mowrehs, also spoke on this, Mowreh Napthtali, the first day of the week. Watch what it says in Malachi, the first chapter, the 6th verse. A son honor his father, and a servant his master. Watch what it says. If then I am a father, where is my honor? If I'm a father. And if I am a master, where's my fear? Says Yahweh of hosts. O priests that despise my name. And you say, wherein have we despised your name? And watch this. I want you to see this. Why do this have anything to do with marriage? Because watch what it says. In Malachi, the 2nd chapter, watch this. And I'm going to show you exactly what it has to do with marriage. And we're going to start reading 7th verse. Watch with this. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of Yahweh of hosts. But you have departed out of the way. You have caused many to stumble at the law. You have corrupted the covenant of Levi, says Yahweh of hosts. How did you do this? Therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all the people, according as you have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. This is why nobody respects the words of Levi today. They don't know who Levi is. But even if they knew, they wouldn't respect it anyway. Watch what it says, 10th verse. Have we not all one Father? Why? Because a father is what Yahweh considers the head. What Yahweh considers who establishes the one way, the one order. It is the one that everybody's hearts have to be with him. Watch what it says. Has not one Elohim created us? Because there's only one God, there's only one Elohim. Yahweh is one. Yahweh had this one Father, this one Elohim, this all for a reason. And then he handed it down to his sons to be that one Father. To be that one baby Elohim that he had. He chose. Did not I say ye were Elohims? Sure you are, because your father is an Elohim. Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother? By profaning the covenant of our fathers. Yehudah has dealt treacherously. An abomination is committed in Israel and Jerusalem. For Yehudah has profaned the holiness of Yahweh which he loved. And what is the holiness of Yahweh which he loved? Holy matrimony. That's what Yahweh loved. And holy matrimony starts with doing good, and secondly, establishing your unity, your unit, and has married the daughter of a strange deity. Yahweh will cut off the man that do this, the master and the scholar out of the tabernacles of Yaakov, and him that offering an offering unto Yahweh of hosts. No, we have to, you got to be like your husband. You got to follow his way. And he have to be like his husband and follow his way. And the son had to be like his father and follow his way. In this way, in this heart, in this spirit, and this ordinance is supposed to be handed down from generation to generation. As you are, so shall they be. It says, and this have you done again, covering the altar of Yahweh with tears, with weeping, with crying, and so much he regards not the offering anymore, or receives it with goodwill at your hand. Yet you say, why? Because Yahweh has been witness between you and the wife of your youth. Against you have dealt treacherously, yet she is your companion, the wife of your covenant. And did not he make one? Yahweh said, He made one. He didn't make y'all and bring y'all together to be two different thoughts, two different ways, two different individuals, two different people. No, that all stopped once you came together. And you got to know whose way, whose heart, whose spirit, whose ordinance, what manner, the one manner in which you should be following. It says, yet had he the residue, which means the remnant of the Spirit. Who did? Your husband, the father. And why one? Why am I making you one? Why did I bring you together as one? Why is it necessary for you to have one flesh? That he might seek an Elohimly seed. Therefore take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. And why? For Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, says that he hates divorce, because that's what putting away is divorce. For one covers violence with his garment, says Yahweh his own. Therefore take heed to your spirit that you deal not treacherously. And Yahweh gave the husband power by giving him the residue, the remnant of the Spirit. So that he can lead, so that he can be the head, so that he can establish the one order, the one way, the one manner, and ultimately become one flesh. Now, it is true that she has to listen. She has to follow. She has to be agreed. And oftentimes, she is not. And this is a problem. Because how can you walk together? How can two walk together? Unless they be agreed. You only can walk one way. So marriage is you got to be agreed, or you can't walk. You can't go. Nothing will be established. And the things you think you have established, nothing is established. The purpose of marriage. And purpose number 2 is establishing your oneness. Is becoming echad, one. Look, we turned from Numbers 15, and we read the 15th verse. I want to go back to Numbers 15 real quick. And we read in the 15th and 16th verse, one ordinance shall be both for you and the congregation, and also for the sojourner or the stranger that sojourns with you. An ordinance forever in your generation as you are, so shall the stranger be before Yahweh. One law. one manner shall be for you, for the stranger that sojourns with you. But watch this. We didn't read this verse because it reiterates the same thing. Watch what it says. The 29th verse of the same chapter. You shall have one law for him that sins through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children of Israel and for the stranger that sojourns among them. Just one law. Now, understand that when you are able to become one, my goodness, the power that you have in becoming one, you don't even know the power. Because if you knew the power, man, you'll be running down the street trying to get married and be one with somebody. Because the things that can be accomplished in being one is unbelievable. And I may add, this is whether you good or evil. Just think about life itself. Think about all the teams that play together as one. And how good they become more than everybody else. Everyone that establishes this one head, this one shepherd, and then gets the people to bind to being one people, one nation. And they're thinking together because they have one heart. And then they going one way. And they only have one law and one manner. These people become powerful. Watch what it says in the book of Genesis, the 11th chapter. I want you to see this. And we're going to start reading at the very first verse. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. In other words, no confusing languages, just one. And they all had the same type of speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick, burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make a name. Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. And Yahweh said, behold, the people are one. They're one. In this tower, in this city, you're not going to be able to stop them unless I do it. Watch what it says. The people are one. And they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. In other words, whatever they imagine, they can accomplish it. And why? Because they became one. That's what the power of one does. You can even fulfill your own imaginations. And your imaginations ain't even good. Just imagine what you can do if you was like Yahweh and you thought like Yahweh and your way was like Yahweh and you follow the one law of Yahweh and the one ordinance of Yahweh. Well, the power in that is the same power that you can have in marriage. You and your wife being one, then your children, knowing you're one, they began to buy into that way, that manner, that law, that ordinance. And now your family turns into a tribe, a nation, a people, all through the oneness of what you was building. All because of your ability to be one. 7th verse. Let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. And you got to understand each other's speech. You got to speak the same language. You might ask, well, how do you do that? My husband speaks for me. My husband is our spokesperson. Because anybody can be confused when everybody talking. Well, your wife said this. Well, your son said that. Your daughter said this. And everybody's speaking and we don't know, we confused. But if there's only one voice, then how can you be confused? It's only one voice. It's only one person speaking. It's only one way, one manner. And isn't that what Yahweh wanted? Is it not that he just wanted you to be one flesh? So why are we trying and attempting to be more than one? Why? Well, Yahweh gave me a mind too. Yes, he did. And Yahweh gave me a heart also. And yes, he did. And Yahweh made me also. And yes, he did. And this is exactly what Aaron and Miriam said to Moses. And watch what they said in the book of Numbers, the 12th chapter. The first verse. And Miriam and Aaron spoke unto Moshe because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. Still dealing with marriage. Still dealing with the purpose of marriage. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, has Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moshe? Has he not spoken also by us? And Yahweh heard it. This was very distressing to Yahweh. Because now, the one way, the one order, the one manner, the one shepherd, the one head, everything is thrown out of order now. Now, the oneness of Yahweh is being challenged. because it was Yahweh who established the oneness of marriage. Yahweh established that. And Yahweh is the one who chooses the one head, the one way, the one manner, the one heart, the one spirit, the one flesh. See, it's Yahweh who do that. We don't have to be confused like other people. We know that it's supposed to be just one. But why aren't we doing it? Yes, you're supposed to use that heart for oneness, that voice for oneness, that mind for oneness, that spirit for oneness, that flesh for oneness. You're supposed to join it together so it will be twice as good as it would be if it was just one by itself. This is why Yahweh made you. This is why he purposed marriage. To establish oneness. And the only people who will be around, who understand, and who get what this oneness is all about. Watch this. Still showing you the essence of Yahweh's word. In the book of Psalms. Watch what it says. Psalms 89. Watch what it says. 18th verse. No, 19th verse. Psalms 89 and 19. Then you spoke in a vision to your Holy One. And I may add, Yahweh is called the Holy One of Israel. And said, I've laid help upon one that is mighty. And why just one? This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Why just one? I've exalted one chosen out of the people. And why just one? He could have exalted. He could have chosen. He could have laid help on many. But that's not how Yahweh, your husband, your maker, your creator, operates. He's one, and he's trying to establish you as one. You're supposed to be one flesh, one body. So when you go, he go. When he back up, you back up. You're one. One of the scriptures I love, absolutely love, you'll find it in the book of Ruth. And Yahweh put this example here for a reason. And watch how this example goes. And it's in the book of Ruth. Watch what it says. Ruth, the first chapter. 11th verse. And Naomi said, "Turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb?" In other words, there's no purpose to go with me. I don't have no more sons, that they may be your husbands, because we're talking about the purpose of marriage. And yes, it's talking about husbands. But watch how this turn as an example of marriage. Watch what it says. "Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, if I should have a husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would you wait for them till they were grown? Would you stay for them from having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me much for your sakes that the hand of Yahweh has gone out against me." And they lifted up their voice, wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law. But Ruth clung to her. And this is exactly the type of clinging that has to take place in marriage. Watch what it says. "And she said, Behold, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her gods. Return you after your sister-in-law." And Ruth said, "Entreat me not to leave you, or to return from following after you. For where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people. Your Elohim, my Elohim. Where you die, will I die, and there will I be buried. Yahweh do so to me, and more also, if anything but death part you and me." And when she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking to her. And why? Because she knew this woman was one with her. She knew this woman was going to follow her way. She knew this woman had her heart. She knew this woman was one in spirit with her. She knew this woman was of the one law, the one ordinance, the one manner, the one Elohim as she was. If Ruth can say this to her mother-in-law, you mean to tell me a wife cannot say this to her husband? Sure, she can. Sure, they can be one if they want to fulfill their purpose in marriage. This second step, this second order, oneness, cannot be skipped over. It's essential. It's a must. And Yahweh will not have it no other way. You have to become one with your husband. He has to be one with his husband. And all the word husband means is master. The oneness and the purpose of marriage. Part 2. You must establish oneness. There's no substitute. There's no 50-50, 70-30, 80-20s, 90-10s. You either going one way or the other. You either have one manner or not. One law, one ordinance, one flesh, one heart, one way. And that will produce one shepherd, one father, one head. And it's up to you. If you want to enter into this covenant of Yahweh, and the covenant of Yahweh is your ability, your willingness, your desired purpose to be one with your husband and to be one with him. You have to be one with the husband that he will give you on earth. The purpose of marriage. And we will deal with establishing the purpose of marriage, number 3, tomorrow. So until tomorrow, Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
Praise Yah, it takes a nation to raise a village. True love can be endless as long as you can get your souls out of scrimmage. A love letter to my one adored. Don't ignore the form. You can hearken and listen, follow forevermore. The light will guide itself. In the law we find peace and solace. Praise the highest. Keep our feet and mouth from being quiet. So much to say, it's gotta be more than physical. Spiritual, send our praises to Yah. He'll send you who you tailored for. I want more. So my desires have to be by works, but I refuse to let money define me as my worth. I understand it takes money to keep up the system, but substance fear, Yah, better known to us as wisdom. Without it, it's desolation. But first we try patience. A marriage can be heaven sent, a covenant of trust for whoever that was stepping it. A lily on my storm, so you the must Almighty said it's not good to be alone, so we caused a deep sleep and took woman from man's bone. Sat her on the side of kings, queen on the throne, got a family of their own, a house, now a happy home.
The Almighty said it's not good to be alone, so he caused a deep sleep and took woman from his bone. Sat her on the side of kings, queen on the throne, got a family of their own, a house, now a happy home.
To my sister sisters, I know the road gets complicated, but if you exercise patience, you gon' be glad you made it. You were black and beautiful, one of the truest statements. Just take time with a man, try not to be evasive. Let them know what you require to become his queen. Know your wants and your needs are not the same things. Make sure he's down for y'all and let this word guide you. And give praise to Elohim for all he's provided. A woman is completion and makes whole to a man's life. So don't get caught up with being this girl. Be that man's wife, think twice or maybe thrice. No, it can't all be right, but give up praise to y'all. It's a glory that cease from strife. Happiness will follow when you with your blessed one. You will know which way to walk, cause Yahweh will direct them. No, he won't forsake you or ever leave you alone. You live the life that he condones. Now your house a happy home. The Almighty said it's not good to be alone, so he caused a deep sleep and took woman from man's bone. Set her on the side of king's queen on the throne. Got a family of their own, a house, now a happy home.
The Almighty said it's not good to be alone, so he caused a deep sleep and took woman from his bone. Set her on the side of king's queen on the throne. Got a family of their own, a house, now a happy home.
To my brothers, recognize good women's worth. You may not find it at first, know it's gonna be your search. Mean what you say, next to y'all remain true. Love her with all that you do, ravish you.
90 seconds.